just doesn't show. I had this very close friend in high school, and we spent so much time together. And we'd go on and on about how good friends we, how good of friends we were. And I started to realize that I was attracted to him physically. It got to the point where I was even, lying in bed at night thinking about it, and what it meant. And that's when I started to get really depressed.
The first time I really drank and got drunk was when I was a sophomore. Um, I drank with a girl I had a crush on, but she didn't know it, and it just I started really getting into drinking after that, all through high school and after, because it allowed me to be closer to the women. Like when you're drunk, you just kind of casually hang on each other, and they do too. It's not like I'd be all. They'd hang on me, and it was just kind of a way that it let my inhibitions down.
I remember getting, like, kicked, in the stomach with their shoes, and really not hurt, so I'd have to go to the hospital, but hurt enough to go home and ache for days. But my mom, would say, "Oh, what happened to you?" And I'd say, "Oh, nothing. Nothing at all, I'm just feeling sick." I wouldn't tell her.
I got up out of the chair and went into the bathroom, and there were these muscle relaxants, and I pulled out a handful and decided that, well, I can swallow these, and then that'll be it.
I'd cut myself with a razor or a safety pin just on the hands, and because I felt better inside when I hurt outside.
Then one day my mom comes in and I told her I was gay, and she bought me the plane ticket that night for the next morning. She said, "You pack your stuff and you get the hell out of here and you get on that plane and I don't ever see you again. Get out of my life." I said, "Fine." So I packed all my stuff and got on the plane.
Being gay was part of who I was, and I was looking at that. At that point, I was looking at myself as being gay. And I didn't like at all what I saw. I didn't like it. Couldn't accept it.
Bobby went to the Everett Street overpass in Portland, Oregon. My niece Debbie called here that Saturday morning and told us that, she said something terrible has happened. And that's when she told us that Bobby had died. These two young men were going to work, and they pulled up to a stoplight, and they saw this guy walking across the overpass, and they said the next thing they knew, he had walked over to the rail and just did a backflip over, and they said that he had jumped in the path of this 18-wheel truck.
Dear diary, or journal, or whatever you are, I'm so glad I've got you to talk to. I feel like I should try to get over this, that it's just an emotional problem that needs to be worked out of my system. And I say to myself, no wonder I turned out a queer. Why did you do this to me, God?
We were all pretty much aware in our family about, that it's wrong to be a homosexual person. And of course, by what's in the Bible, that it's an abomination to God. I would push any idea that Bobby might be different in the back of my mind. I just didn't want to think about it. I mentioned it to my husband on one occasion, and he didn't want to think about it either. And I think it was mainly Bobby's actions, the way he would be kind of effeminate. I remember Bobby, he was about 14, and a friend had come to visit us, and I think she'd had some kind of an encounter with a lesbian woman. It wasn't that she was lesbian, it was just an encounter, and I guess maybe she was experimenting, I don't know. But anyway, I had, raised my opinions about it, and Bobby was here, and I was very, very homophobic. I loaned her a coat, and I wouldn't wear it again. And of course, Bobby heard all this and saw all this, and I said, "You can't love God and be gay."
Dear Lord, it's me. I hope you forgive me for being such a stupid human. I wish it were June 24th, 1963 all over again, so I could try again. But I know things would probably turn out the same. Please don't send me to hell. I need your seal of approval. If I had that, I would be happy. I wish God gave out report cards. Here's a note that I got from my brother Ed. Dear Bobby, this is a note to say I love you, I'm praying for you, I care for you. And last but not least, I think you're special, and I'm glad I'm your brother. When I told Ed about my problem, I expected him to keep my secret. I felt close to him then, and when I told him not to tell anyone else, and he said he wouldn't, it made me feel even closer. Then he told. Everyone fell apart, mainly me. I just rubbed off on everyone else. It was such a mess.
I really have to confess, I prided myself on, really believing that God would come to the rescue and all that for Bobby, that he would heal him. And, we talked to Bobby in his bedroom there, and I naturally gave Bobby Bible verses to read, and my husband felt that Bobby would grow out of it, that Bobby needed to date more girls, and, everything would just smooth out, so to speak.
What's wrong with me? I just wish I could crawl under a rock. I'm stupid, making the same stupid mistakes over and over. Why do I record them on paper? I wish my life was being written with erasable ink. It would be like it never even happened. At school, I feel so left out and out of place. I hate it.
Bobby stayed to himself at school, and that's when he did a lot of writing in his diaries or journals, whatever. He did good in school when he was there, but around April, the year he was going to graduate, he just said he didn't want to go anymore. And of course, we talked to Bobby. He just said no. He says, I hate it there. There just wasn't anything there for him.
When I met him, I was a senior, and he had already gone off his own way. He was in the class before mine. And so I assumed he had graduated and was just coming back to visit my teacher. And the impression that I had of Bob was, I'm a shy person, but he was shy, I called him, which I wanted a friend real bad, my own age. And so I called his house, and we made plans to meet.
Bobby was 17 when he started dating, and I just really kind of panicked when Bobby would be talking on the phone to him.
And we sat in his car, and I thought it was kind of a date, but